Rap music mogul Jay-Z revealed as an accused rapist in a civil lawsuit initially filed against Sean Diddy Combs. The two stars, now accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at an after party decades ago. I have 7 shocking details from the suit and what Jay-Z, Combs, and the accuser's lawyer are all saying about it.
This is the story of a shocking hidden connection between the two undisputed kings of hip-hop, Diddy and Jay-Z, a dark, disturbing bond forged in a specific kind of power and privilege, a bond that is only now being fully exposed. For years, Sean Jay-Z Carter has maintained a masterful distance.
Jay-Z, of course, is one of the biggest names in rap music, and he has been a longtime friend and associate of Sean Diddy Combs. Now he's being revealed as the name behind Celebrity A in a lawsuit filed by a Jane Doe from Alabama, who claims that Combs and now Jay-Z raped her in the year 2000. And in a bit, I'm going to tell you what both Jay-Z and Sean Combs are saying about this lawsuit, so stay tuned for that. Combs is currently in federal custody, accused of racketeering and sex trafficking, and he's pleaded not guilty to those charges. The sex trafficking charge filed against Combs relates to allegations made by his ex, Cassie Ventura, that he forced her to take part in freak-offs, days-long sex acts with male sex workers. Cassie had originally filed a civil lawsuit against Combs in November of 2023. That suit, of course, was settled in record time within a day. Before that, Combs's lawyers say that Cassie's lawyers had made an offer to them that they could buy the rights to a book she was writing for $30 million in exchange for it never seeing the light of day. Cassie's lawsuit and the subsequent settlement seemed to open the floodgates for other women to file civil lawsuits against Combs. More than a dozen have been filed, including one by a Jane Doe in October. At the time the suit was filed, Combs was the main defendant, and 2 other celebrities were listed as Celebrity A and Celebrity B. Celebrity A was listed as a man, and Celebrity B, a woman. Now attorney Tony Busby, after some legal back and forth with a demand letter and dueling lawsuits, says Celebrity A is Jay-Z, whose legal name is Sean Carter. The suit begins. Defendant Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, along with his longtime friend and collaborator Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party, but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs has been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. The plaintiff says she was 13 at the time in January of 2000, when she said she went to the MTV Video Music Awards at Radio City Music Hall. She didn't have a ticket, so she approached limo drivers who were parked outside hoping to get in. The lawsuit says one of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for defendant Combs. The driver told her that Combs liked younger girls and said that she fit what Diddy was looking for. And while not allowing her into the awards, the driver invited her to an after-party. The driver stated that he had to drive Combs and others to the after-party first, but instructed plaintiff to return to his location after the event and that he pick her up after and take her to the after-party. While the woman says she was outside the VMAs talking to the limo drivers, inside it was a big night, particularly for Jennifer Lopez, who was at the awards show with her then-boyfriend Sean Combs. They were a hot couple back then, and Lopez won the VMA for Best Dance Video. She was on top of the world that night. The woman claims that night, outside of Radio City Music Hall, she got into a limo with someone affiliated with Sean Combs. That suit says, after approximately 20 minutes, plaintiff arrived at a large white house with a gate U-shaped driveway. Once inside, 2 men asked plaintiff to sign a non-disclosure agreement, informing her that she could not discuss what happened at the after-party. She gave them her name and signed the form, but did not receive a copy. The Jane Doe described seeing celebrities, but those people are not named. Inside the building, plaintiff recognized many celebrities as she entered what appeared to be a large living room or foyer containing a large crowd. Plaintiff attempted to mingle in the crowd and talk to several of the celebrities that she recognized and whom she wanted to see at the VMAs.
A careful silence as Diddy's empire disintegrated. His legal team has been crystal clear. Jay-Z has nothing to do with the Diddy case. They were professional rivals, occasional collaborators, nothing more. But that narrative, that expertly managed illusion of separation, has been shattered by a single, Terrifying lawsuit that dragged both titans into the same legal crosshairs and forced a truth into the light that neither man wanted you to see. The smoking gun, the undeniable link, is the lawsuit filed by Jane Doe, which for a time accused both Diddy and Jay-Z of drugging and raping her when she was a minor at a party following the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Though this specific lawsuit was later voluntarily dropped, the damage was done. The vulnerability of the entire power structure they both helped create was irrevocably exposed. And this is where the dark, disturbing connection is finally revealed. It's not just that they were named together in an allegation of a heinous crime that was immediately and vehemently denied by Jay-Z, who called the claims frivolous. It's about the strategic, defensive maneuvers that followed.
And a female celebrity, Celebrity B. Plaintiff immediately recognized all three celebrities. Combs aggressively approached plaintiff with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her and said, "You are ready to party." Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. Plaintiff was held down by Carter as he vaginally raped her, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. After Carter was finished, he stepped back toward the wall. Combs then stepped forward and vaginally raped plaintiff while Carter and Celebrity B watched. Combs then knocked plaintiff down and attempted to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on him. She fought back, standing up quickly and punching out at the same time, hitting Combs in the neck. Taken aback, Combs stopped his attempt. The allegations in this suit are very disturbing, and Sean Combs is denying the claims being made by the woman, who's now around 37 years old. Combs and his legal team said in a statement, "This amended complaint and the recent extortion lawsuit against Mr. Busby exposes his barrage of lawsuits against Mr. Combs for what they are: shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. As his legal team has said before, Mr. Combs has full confidence in facts and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor." And Jay-Z posted a lengthy statement on X calling the allegations heinous. "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt, called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny," in all caps. "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case." This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these type of theatrics. "I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type." Jay-Z then talks about his family and the toll this will take on them. "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different."
When Jay-Z was named, he didn't just issue a denial. He did something far more aggressive and revealing. He launched an offensive legal action against the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, accusing him of a blackmail attempt and extortion. Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, argued that the lawyer was using the threat of a public lawsuit to extort exorbitant sums of money. Why is this the key to the hidden bond? Because the lawyer Jay-Z was attacking, Tony Busby, is the same attorney representing dozens of accusers against Diddy. By attacking the legal strategy and the credibility of Diddy's primary legal opponent, Jay-Z was effectively running strategic interference for the entire celebrity class, and most importantly, for the man who was drowning in litigation, Diddy. Every legal blow Jay-Z's team landed against Busby was a shield raised for the structural integrity of the empire built on celebrity privilege. It suggests a high-level, covert legal alliance born of mutual fear. They may not have been holding hands, but their war rooms were fighting the same enemy, a fact that completely
I am. And lawyer Tony Busby, who filed this suit in the first place, is firing back also on X. Regarding the Jay-Z case and his efforts to silence my clients, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she sought only a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. As far as the allegations in the complaint filed, we will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the facts in court, not in the media. I want to bring in Nima Rahmani. He is an entertainment attorney, and he's been following the whole Sean Combs ordeal very closely. So Nima, your thoughts on Jay-Z being revealed as Celebrity A in this lawsuit? I know you and I discussed this a few weeks back.
And Jeanette, I'm not surprised. You and I have speculated, as to who this might be. And I think it was really telling when Alex Spiro and Quinn Emanuel filed that extortion lawsuit against Tony Busby. It's pretty well known that Spiro represents Jay-Z and Rock Nation, so it was the most likely celebrity, and now it's been revealed that the allegations are indeed against Jay-Z.
I think it's interesting too because Alex Spiro came out swinging about a month or two ago when something came up about Jay-Z and Beyonce on a Piers Morgan show. And he came out, sent some type of letter to Piers Morgan saying, you need to retract this, get rid of whatever was said about my clients. And he did it lickety split. And then that was kind of a big red flag that Jay-Z was on the offense, or on the defense and on the offense, trying to play a little bit of both. So, but the thing is, Jay-Z is saying this isn't true. He's filed a motion to dismiss this suit. He is not taking this laying down. He is saying, this has emboldened him to not give in and pay one red cent. But this woman is claiming this was Jay-Z and Sean Combs who raped her as a 13-year-old girl. So how do we get to the truth of the matter here?
So what you would want if you are Busby and this now woman's lawyer is ideally you have some sort of corroborating evidence and a contemporaneous report. It can be challenging to bring these types of cases decades later. Now, it's really going to go in one of two ways. And we saw it with Diddy and Cassie Ventura. This is either the first of many lawsuits that are going to be filed against Jay-Z, or this is a one-off. We know that it can be Weinstein, it can be Cosby, it can be Epstein. Oftentimes, abusers abuse more than one victim. And I'm not saying any of this is true, but if it is, there may be more than one victim here. And if others do come forward, sometimes it's hard for jurors to believe one victim in a he said, she said type situation. But when victim after victim is telling the same story, of physical and sexual violence, that's very hard for jurors to overcome.
We still don't know who Celebrity B is. There's been a lot of speculation about that. We don't know who it is. We know it's a woman, and she so far has not been unmasked. Tony Busby has not revealed Celebrity B's identity. What can we take away from that?
So Celebrity B, there's a lot of speculation out there. I mean, obviously we know who Diddy was dating at the time, and I think that's who a lot of people think it was. But
he annihilates the narrative of their separation. The disturbing connection runs deeper into the alleged culture of secrecy and exploitation that characterized their shared ascent. Diddy's infamous parties, the white parties and the later, more secretive freak-offs, were legendary events that Jay-Z, his wife Beyonce, and dozens of other high-profile figures attended. These parties, now revealed in court documents to have allegedly been sites of non-consensual acts, coercion, and drugging, were the fuel that powered their parallel mythology, the very environment that led to Diddy's conviction. The unchecked hedonism, the blurring of lines between entertainment and exploitation, was a shared cultural landscape they both navigated and benefited from. Furthermore, the legal filings, including those later dropped, contain chilling details suggesting a shared mindset and level of awareness. Jane Doe's complaint alleged Jay-Z was present during the incident, where she was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement before being given a drink she believes was spiked. She further alleged that Jay-Z and Diddy
since making it weeks ago, and he passed the buck, stating that another unnamed firm had vetted the allegations and that the Busby law firm would, quote, continue to vet claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. So yes, that is true, based on the NBC reporting. He said that. And Jay-Z argues that's not adequate. That is, quote, entirely improper, and that it was Busby's job to conduct a factual investigation before he signed and filed this complaint, not afterwards. And Jay-Z and Alex Spiro double down on this, and they make the argument that if you look at how Tony Busby has conducted himself since Combs was arrested and indicted, it shows that Tony Busby hasn't been doing his proper due diligence. Why do they say that? Because after that happened, after Sean Combs was arrested and indicted, they say that Busby apparently published a 1-800 hotline number for potential plaintiffs to sue Sean Combs for abuse. And they say just 2 weeks later, he holds this press conference where he claimed that more than 3,000 people had contacted him through the hotline, and that he claimed he was representing 120 plaintiffs who wanted to bring lawsuits against Sean Combs. That is true. He did hold that presser. We covered this on prior sidebars. But they argue, quote, that sequence alone strongly suggests that Mr. Busby's vetting of claims was grossly deficient. Even assuming Mr. Busby set up the hotline on the same day that Mr. Combs' indictment was unsealed, the sheer number of calls that Mr. Busby allegedly received within the 2 weeks between the unsealing and the October 1st press release indicates that Mr. Busby could not possibly have vetted every caller's allegations to the extent necessary to establish the veracity before signing up 120 of them as plaintiffs. But within weeks of his press conference and in an apparent rush to be the first attorney to get claims on file against Mr. Combs, Mr. Busby filed 15 lawsuits on behalf of individuals who contacted him via the hotline in this court alone. So the basic argument was that Busby didn't properly vet these claims, that he appears to not even spoken to the accuser's father, which would have been a simple thing to do. And when he started to see cracks in this case, he should have withdrawn the complaint. And they argue that he is not engaging in his ethical responsibilities. And they even go so far as to suggest that maybe that is why he has not obtained temporary admission to practice law in this court, the Southern District of New York, for this case. Because in the law, we call that pro hoc vice. That's where you're temporarily admitted to try a case in a jurisdiction that you're not otherwise admitted to. We talked about this previously on another episode of Sidebar because he was defending himself, Tony Busby, in a prior filing. And he was basically saying, look, I'm not trying to avoid being sanctioned. I'm not trying to avoid the court having authority over me to avoid being sanctioned. And he wrote, I am a member of the State Bar of New York and am admitted to the Eastern District of New York. I intend to apply for reciprocal admission to the Southern District. Again, that's where this case is being held. The fact that I have signed pleadings and letters filed in this court does not reflect any attempt by me to evade responsibility for anything. However, Jay-Z and his legal team, they write here in this filing that Busby, quote, has not even sought interim admission pro hoc vice while his application is pending, despite signing more filings over the ensuing weeks. Whether that reflects an improper effort to avoid the jurisdiction of this court or just a failure to act with anything approaching reasonable diligence, it reinforces the propriety of imposing sanctions here. So Spiro doubles down and tries to reassure the court that what Busby is accused of here, these Rule 11 violations he says that he has committed, that they are extreme, that this isn't levying, quote, irrelevant ad hominem attacks against Tony Busby. Now that is seemingly in reference to what I mentioned before, where the judge had chastised Alex Spiro for what he was saying about Tony Busby. They're saying it goes beyond this. This is not just personal ad hominem attacks or anything like this. And they even claim
took turns assaulting her while another celebrity watched. Though Jay-Z vehemently denied these allegations and the lawsuit was dropped, the initial details presented to the court painted a dark picture of shared knowledge and shared alleged participation in an environment of gross abuse. This is the hidden bond finally revealed. It is not a friendship. It is a shared liability. It is the shocking realization that the two biggest icons of the culture were allegedly connected not just by platinum records and billion-dollar deals, but by the same dark, systemic behaviors that shielded them from accountability for decades. Jay-Z's aggressive legal maneuver against the accuser's lawyer was not just an act of self-defense. It was an act of preservation for a system that both he and Diddy had mastered. When Jay-Z was named, he didn't just issue a denial. He did something far more aggressive and revealing. He launched an offensive legal action against the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, accusing him of using the threat of a lawsuit to extort exorbitant sums of money. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro,
claim that Tony Busby is a repeat offender. So Alex Spiro writes, on October 14th, 2024, he, meaning Tony Busby, filed a different complaint on behalf of an anonymous John Doe against Mr. Combs that has also contained easily disprovable allegations. For example, that complaint asserted that John Doe had never been married, but CNN reported the contrary. He was married, and his marriage purportedly ended after the alleged assault. That is information that any attorney could obtain during an introductory meeting with his client by simply asking questions about his marital history or how the alleged assault impacted his life. The complaint also asserted that Doe was assaulted in 2006 in the Hamptons at Mr. Combs' white party. But again, CNN revealed that the white party was held in Saint-Tropez in 2006 and in the Hamptons in 2007, something Mr. Busby could have learned through a simple Google search. So let me just take a quick pause here to talk about this, because a counter-argument for Tony Busby to fight against this, I imagine, could be none of these inconsistencies in Jane Doe's account or John Doe's account make the story not true. With respect to Jane Doe, yeah, there may be details that are wrong, but isn't that natural? We're talking about something that happened 24 years ago. Well, now 25 years ago, but 24 years ago when she filed the complaint. And if the allegations are true, a victim of sexual assault could have recall issues given the trauma of that event, especially the age that she was at or allegedly at. But Spiro and Jay-Z kind of respond to that. They write, no corroborating data can fix the problem that virtually every event in plaintiff's narrative is contradicted by indisputable facts. And at any rate, even if there was some reason to conclude that the complaint could be salvaged, the appropriate course of action would be to voluntarily dismiss the complaint without prejudice, meaning it could be refiled again under Rule 41, while Mr. Busby determines whether the claims have a reasonable factual basis, not to leave a fundamentally defective and defamatory complaint on the docket while Mr. Busby does the work he should have done before he commenced suit. And Spiro also cites case law from this appellate court decision in support of sanctions. It's called the Levine case. And he writes, there, the court upheld sanctions where subsequent deposition testimony from both the plaintiff and one of the defendants revealed that statements in the pleadings and other filings were provably false. In so doing, the Second Circuit credited the district court's conclusions that the complaint's allegations were not well grounded in fact, and that plaintiff's counsel had ignored facts revealed through reasonable inquiry and perpetuated his misconduct through the filing of numerous memoranda well after his errors were revealed to him. That is precisely what Mr. Busby has done here. The court should come to the same conclusion as the Second Circuit in Levine. Now, this is a good argument, but at the same time, we don't know exactly what the facts were in Levine. Could be kind of different with what we're dealing with here. I'm sure when Tony Busby responds, he will address that case as well. But just going to one final thing that Alex Spiro writes in this filing. It's important because he writes, the nature of the allegations here warrants sanctions. This is not a contract dispute or a patent case. This is an allegation of child rape. To sign a pleading accusing someone of such a horrific crime without adequately vetting the allegation, particularly when the defendant's prominence means that the allegation will be repeated in headlines across the world, is deeply wrong and unethical. If lawyers do not face consequences for such a cavalier effort to destroy another person's reputation and inflict emotional harm on his loved ones, that tactic will proliferate. And at the same time, Combs has also been accused in several civil lawsuits of drugging and raping people as far back as the 90s. The allegations come from both men and women, including some who say that they were just teens when they were targeted. And in the midst of a flurry of lawsuits, before he faced criminal charges in federal court,
launched an all-out assault on the opposing counsel's tactics. Why is this the key to the hidden bond? Because the lawyer Jay-Z was attacking, Tony Busby, is the same attorney representing dozens of accusers against Diddy. By attacking the legal strategy and the credibility of Diddy's primary legal opponent, Jay-Z was effectively running strategic interference for the entire celebrity class, and most importantly, for the man who was drowning in litigation, Diddy. This suggests a high-level, covert legal alliance born of mutual fear. They may not have been holding hands, but their war rooms were fighting the same enemy, a fact that completely annihilates the narrative of their separation. Every legal move Jay-Z's team made to discredit the plaintiff's lawyer was a benefit to Diddy's defense. The message was loud and clear: attack one of us, you attack the system that protects us all. The disturbing connection runs deeper into the alleged culture of secrecy and exploitation that characterized their shared ascent. Diddy's infamous parties, the white parties and the later, more secret.
We learned about a man named Derek Cardello Smith. This is an inmate incarcerated at Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility out in Michigan. Now, he has been convicted multiple times for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping. Cardello Smith appeared on a judge's live stream from prison representing himself to explain why he wanted an injunction against, out of all people, Sean Combs.
This is in the matter of Derek Lee Cardello Smith, MDOC number 267009 versus Sean Combs, Sean Puff Daddy Combs, also known as Sean P. Diddy, also known as Diddy, Bad Boy Records label owner, founder, also known as Puff P. Daddy, Bad Boy, Diddy Run the City, Sean Combs, also known as Sean Puffy Combs. And this is file number 24-7362NO. I'll grab your paperwork here real quick out of this other paperwork. We do have Mr. Cardello Smith appearing from the Michigan Department of Corrections. Sir, where are you currently located?
I'm located at the Ernest C. Brooks Correctional Facility, 2500 South Sheridan Drive, Muskegon, Michigan, 49444, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Or Your Honor.
Thank you. So I do see that we do have a proof of service on Mr. Combs, but for purposes of this hearing, you filed a motion for a temporary restraining order and/or a preliminary injunction to stop all sales of the property and assets attached to or involved with said property based on the interest of plaintiff and plaintiff's connections to defendant's sexual assault of plaintiff Derek Lee Cardello Smith, requiring a preliminary injunction and/or a temporary restraining order. Do you wish to argue the motion today, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed then.
Okay, the purpose of it is based on two actions taken by Mr. Combs himself, directly with me here. We did a live one-on-one visit in our prison visiting room. There's two meetings within the past 2 weeks with Mr. Combs on one meeting, and then a financial advisor on the other meeting on Mr. Combs' behalf. And he stated that he would make me an offer to end the case and what happened to me because of other things that he stated he has going on in his life that require his money right now, and he wants to sell everything off. And he made me a financial offer of $2.3 million to allow what happened to me to go away. And he stated that he's going to be selling his property, and under the 2005 California Civil Code 2881-2885, the creation of liens, which allows out-of-state justices and orders to cause a stop of any title transfer, property transfers in Los Angeles or any other place that he has property. He stated that he wouldn't be able to proceed with that sale. And he did it the day after I served him the suit. And he also said that he won't be filing an answer to the complaint. He said, you can find me in default or whatever. He has a better chance with default than he would with having a restraining order stopped. And I said, so you want to hide you want to hide your money and stop from being quite possibly paid to me if I'm given the benefit of a judgment in my favor for what you've done to me. And he pretty much said, yeah. He says, you know how we get down. And I said, okay, well, I disagree with how you get down. Your sale shouldn't go through.
So I'm gonna hold on.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Cardello Smith. Okay, so you went in a different direction than I thought you were going into. I thought we were just gonna focus.
Of freak-offs. were legendary events that Jay-Z, his wife Beyoncé, and dozens of other high-profile figures attended. These parties, now revealed in court documents to have allegedly been sites of non-consensual acts, coercion, and drugging, were the fuel that powered their parallel mythology, the very environment that led to Diddy's conviction. The unchecked hedonism, the blurring of lines between entertainment and exploitation, was a shared cultural landscape they both navigated and benefited from. Furthermore, the legal filings, even the initial, dropped complaint, painted a dark picture of shared knowledge and potential alleged participation. Jane Doe's complaint specifically alleged that both perpetrators must face justice, claiming both men took turns assaulting her while another celebrity watched. Though Jay-Z vehemently denied these allegations and the lawsuit was dropped, the initial details presented to the court painted a dark picture of shared proximity and potential participation in an environment of alleged abuse. This is the hidden bond finally revealed. It is not a friendship. It is a shared liability. It is the shocking realization that the two biggest icons of the culture were allegedly connected not just by platinum records and billion-dollar deals, but by the same dark, systemic behaviors that shielded them from accountability for decades. Jay-Z's aggressive legal maneuver against the accuser's lawyer was not just an act of self-defense, it was an act of preservation for a system that both he and Diddy had mastered. The final exposure here is that the silence, the public distancing, was the ultimate piece of the cover-up. It was a calculated performance to protect the image of the man who still had a sprawling, functioning empire. The final exposure here is that the silence, the public distancing, was the ultimate piece of the cover-up. It was a calculated performance to protect the image of the man who still had a sprawling, functioning empire, while the other man took the fall. But the truth is out. Diddy and Jay-Z's hidden bond was the shared defense of an ugly secret. A secret that is now haunting the entire music industry. The collapse of one empire threatens to expose the foundations of the other. The connection is real, it's disturbing, and it's finally revealed.